Music, dance, theater. It's time to take a seat on the aisle with Tom Alvarez. Hear from performers, producers, presenters, and creators who enrich our lives in the performing arts. Who's on stage? Here is Tom Alvarez to introduce you.
Hello, and welcome to On the Aisle with yours truly, Tom Alvarez. My guest today is the incomparable Marilyn Maye, critically acclaimed singer, actor, director, arranger, educator, and a Grammy-nominated recording artist whose entire life has been committed to the art of song and performance. The award-winning Ms. Maye appeared 76 times on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson, the record for a singer. His usual accolade for her came after one of her show-stopping appearances on The Tonight Show. When he turned to his audience of millions, Carson said, "And that, young singers, is the way it's done." Let's join my conversation with this musical treasure. Well, hello, Marilyn Maye. It's Tom.
Hi, Tom. I'm glad to hear from you. I'm thrilled to be with you. This is a new project for you?
Oh, it is, and you are like my fourth guest, and who better than to have... I've seen you 3 times here in Carmel at Feinstein's, but I was going back in my memory to think about when we first met, and I know it was 2015 at the Palladium. Do you remember that? You were with Michael Feinstein.
Oh, yes.
You have quite a history with Michael, do you not?
We do. We have worked together happily, and of course he's an incredibly talented, adorable kid. I call him a kid, and you know, he's just knowledgeable and brilliant, and it was my joy and my honor that I think I received a trophy from
you did.
one of those nights.
In 2018, you were inducted into the Songbook Foundation's Hall of Fame, and I think you won the Standard Award. And what was that like to receive that award from Michael?
Well,
up
it
on that
was wonderful,
stage?
and I'm honored. And I've known Michael for a very long time. His parents lived in Columbus, Ohio, I believe.
That's
I hope
right.
I'm right with that. It's been
That's right.
so long. And they used to come and see me when he was a little boy.
Really?
I appeared there in a club, a wonderful club that in those days there was a big band that backed us up, not just a trio. And the parents were there in my audience quite often, I'm told. They told me they were. And of course I didn't know that they were raising this brilliant young man. And as time went on, of course, then we met, and I met the parents, and the stories about them being in the club were so so much fun for me to know that they were there when I was singing to them.
So his mother's name, as I recall, is Macy, right?
Right.
Yeah, he's definitely a Midwestern boy. So, you know, we're really fortunate that he moved over to the next state to be the artistic director of the Center for the Performing Arts. So you know about his mission when you were there in Carmel to receive that award. I'm sure he took you up to his archives, and he's collecting all of this these memorabilia from, entertainers for the last 30, 40 years. He's got pianos, he's got dresses. I'm sure some of your stuff is in there, isn't it?
Well, maybe not yet, but it will be. I'm still here.
Well, I'm sure. Yeah, that's
good times and bum times. I've seen them all, and my dear, I'm still here.
Oh, I was hoping you could sing us some a cappella. We can't play any of your recordings because we don't have the rights. But in any case, so of course you've been to. I saw you at Feinstein's at Hotel Carmichael at least 3 times. I went back into my Facebook pictures, and you were wearing 3 different outfits, so I guess it would have been 3 times, right?
I know. I love being in that room. It's wonderful. They built a room that is conducive to very intimate entertainment, and there isn't a bad seat in the house.
Well, you opened it, and you opened it.
I did open it.
January in 2022. I was there. It was historic.
I'm so glad. And I've loved it that you are loyal and you come back and you were entertained.
Well, of course. I mean, how often unless you go to the places where you're performing? So we are really, really lucky to have, Michael's Club in Carmel, Indiana. And of course, everything that he's brought to that city, it's just been extraordinary.
Yes, I know they're bringing, first-class entertainment and happiness and positivity. When you come to the shows in the hotel there, the Feinstein Club, which is very easily accessed when you walk in the front door of the hotel, and it's intimate and wonderful. The club is very warm and intimate, and it's just the best entertainment that they're bringing to Carmel.
Don't you think it is a New York experience? Although, we're not exactly flyover. Some people think we are. I don't think we are. We've got places like Feinstein's and the Palladium.
I know they're bringing New York entertainment to them. I work in New York. I'll be opening in April at 54 Below, which is a club right on 54th and 8th Avenue, and between 8th and Broadway. And I work the club twice a year, and I usually do 10 days, 10 nights of performance there. And and I know that so many of the entertainers have been working there. We also do Birdland, and there are acts from Birdland that they bring.
Jim Caruso was there recently and had his what does he call his cast party? He brought that to Feinstein's.
That's right. That's right. So it's really, Carmel should be very proud to have, and I'm sure these citizens are, and they need to go constantly to the club, because it would enrich their lives. With so much going on in the world today, we need the happiness that music can bring to our lives.
I know that you have made a lot of friendships in Indianapolis, and I know many of your. Let's give a shout out to some of them. People like Shane Harkey, right?
I love Shane. Shane comes to New York to see me, and he brings a lot of people to see me there in Carmel. And he comes other cities to see me. He's become a very close friend.
And we would be remiss if we didn't plug his store, right? His beautiful store.
The Addendum.
Yeah, let's give him a little commercial, Marilyn.
That is a gorgeous store, and he travels all over the world to bring gorgeous gifts in that beautiful store.
And I wrote a story about your friendship with him, and it's in my column on tomalvarez.studio. I'll give my own self a plug. But in that story, I detailed how you've been close friends, and he travels around to your shows around the country. And
he loves the music.
Yeah.
He loves the music. That's why I say, these days, it's so very important to go hear live entertainment and bring some joy to your life. There's a lot of very negative vibes in the world today.
Exactly.
And the way that you will release yourself when you go to Feinstein's. It's a wonderful place to go have a wonderful evening and lose some of the problems that we hear every day on the news.
Exactly. And of course, I would also be remiss if I didn't mention your friend and student, Roger Schmelzer.
Roger Schmelzer. I've known Roger a very long time, and he's a wonderful singer and a wonderful performer. He's a joy to me, and I've designed his act and the songs that he sings. I'm so proud of him because he's really a wonderful performer and loves the music and loves to sing the songs.
And he's got such great support in his wife Cindy, does he not? Lucinda or Cindy Schmelzer.
She's an actress, right?
Yes, and she's a tremendous actor. Very well respected.
And they're there. They come to hear me, and when I'm there at Carmel, and they even come into New York. They come to Minneapolis. They've been in my audience through the years.
Marilyn, do
steadily,
you keep friendships in all the cities that you play?
Well, we hope so.
Mm-hmm.
I've lived so long that I appear often in the same cities.
Yes.
Tomorrow I head for St. Louis. Mm-hmm. I'll be there, and I think Shane is coming to St. Louis. It's a short drive, I think, from
Well, I
Carmel,
happen
Indiana.
to know that you've had people follow you to Indianapolis and other places. People actually do follow you. You have groupies.
Well, I'm glad for that. That's a nice thing. They like the music. They like the feeling that they get when they sit in an audience for an hour and a half, and we sing the Great American Songbook, and it's all, like I say, it's all positive, all positivity that we convey, and now more than ever, they need to come and see live entertainment, because it's the great connection between the two of us, between that audience and whomever is singing on the stage.
Marilyn, I saw a documentary, I don't know if you've seen it, about Sophie Tucker. And this documentary, way before the internet, she would go to these cities, and she made a habit of getting the names and remembering. She had a photographic memory. She would always carry a notebook around and took down names and addresses, and she would send people postcards and Christmas cards and birthday cards. And so she kept track of everyone she met in every city, and that's how she developed her audience. And I don't know if you go that far, but you're kind of like that, are you not? I mean,
well,
you do collect...
when the people speak to you and they want to know you, that's a great compliment. We call them meet and greet after the show. Yep. I always hold a meet and greet somewhere in the club. Sometimes it's up on a different floor where the dressing rooms are, but it's always a healthy thing to get to know your people, and it's always a great compliment when they come back and want to hear you, and then afterward.
Well, I can share my personal experience. Even though I cover artists, I don't believe in professional distance. Most people I cover, become at least strong acquaintances, if not friends. And I had the opportunity to hang out with you after one of your shows at Feinstein's, and we had a little meet and greet, and we kind of like shut off the rest of the world. I talked with you for at least a half an hour while you had your apple martini, which you have once a day.
I always have one. We have one.
Yeah,
and that's
I watched.
Only one.
I watched, and you only had one.
And never before showtime.
And
always after showtime.
And you were so warm and gracious. And the thing I got about you is you're one of those performers. What you see is what you get. What you saw on stage is the same person that looks you right in the eye, and like you're the only person in the room, and that really, that really impressed me.
Thank you.
And it was such a great conversation. All of your stories and anecdotes. I could have stayed forever, but I thought I was like being rude because there are other people hanging around who just were dying to talk with you. So I didn't want to monopolize your time.
Well, thank you, Tom. It's a wonderful business in that respect.
Oh, it's really.
I like the personal contact with the people, and even from the stage, I'm so grateful that they're there to be entertained, that they like my music, and I'm always so grateful when they enjoy and show that they enjoy, and when I feel they've gone out and they're happier. I have people say to me, I didn't feel so good today. I almost didn't come because I didn't feel good, and I'm so glad I came because I feel so much better, and I'm walking out happier than when I walked in.
And what we're talking
that's the greatest compliment that we can get.
And what we're talking about here, are we not, is connection. And isn't that what makes cabaret so compelling and experience?
Personal.
Yeah,
very personal.
Intimate. You're right there in this small room. Well, no, they're not all small, but you make even large spaces feel small. You do. But in the small rooms, don't you feel you're right there? The audience is like having dinner just like feet away from you, And
Tom,
Yes.
I just did a concert a few months ago in Carnegie Hall.
Yes.
I did my own concert at Carnegie.
That's on my list of questions. I got a lot to ask you about that night. I mean,
well, let's talk about that because
I couldn't wait to hear your. I want to hear everything about what 1,000. How many seats in that theater? How many seats?
Well,
in Carnegie Hall?
We did 3,680 some. I don't know the exact number.
And it was jam-packed with a lot of stars, too. Many, 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 many. I mean, you could go on forever about all the big names that were in that audience.
It was a sold-out house, and only one night with 80 musicians. We had a full orchestra.
The New York Pops, right? New York Pops.
My trio, okay. and 80 other musicians, my arrangements, and Stephen Reinecke, who is the conductor for the New York Pops Orchestra,
right
here in New York, and he's a brilliant conductor, and we had great fun with him. When I entered, there was a standing ovation, and the reviewers said that through the show there were 12 standing ovations, and I'm so thrilled about it. The audience was so happiness, and there were lots of celebrities there. It was great fun, but the joy of Carnegie Hall, it's just beautiful. And I did turn to him and say, "What a lovely nightclub this is."
You had played Carnegie before, but with other people, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
True.
How many times had you played it before?
Well, we did. The first time that I played it, it was for a celebration of Stephen Sondheim's birthday.
Right. Uh-huh.
And I closed the show with "I'm Still Here." And even that night, we went back for a second bow, which is unusual that they allow that.
Mm-hmm.
But they did. The audience was so wonderful about it, and we went back for a second bow. Then the second time was a celebration of Frank Loesser's music. And Frank Loesser wrote "Guys and Dolls" and "Most Happy Fella" and a lot of Broadway show, a lot of Broadway show music.
And of course, you knew a lot of these people back in the day, did you not? A lot of the composers.
Well, Frank, I never knew, but I have met Stephen Sondheim, but
yes.
But Frank Loesser I had never met, and I've done his music through the years, so it was a joy to just. It was a celebration. He was gone when we did it, but it was wonderful. And then finally, Stephen, our great conductor, said, you've got to do your own concert here, and so we did 2 hours of music, and the audience and the reviewers went out very happy.
You said that there were 7 reviews, and we talked yesterday, sort of pre-produce. You mentioned that there were 7 of them, and
yes,
so what was the general response?
Well, it was all glowing.
That's great.
I'm too old to be humble, Tom. I just kind of tell it like it is.
Why should you? I mean, the facts are the facts, right?
Well, it was lovely. They had great words to say, and there were celebrities there. That David Hyde Pierce, who I adore, and I've met him, and I was so honored that he was there. In the audience was someone who has seen me perform in various other cities, but he came in his private plane with his wife and his secretary, and his name was Warren Buffett.
Mm-hmm.
And he flew in from Omaha in his private plane, and sent me a communique that he would be there, and that he had to see me right after the show because he was going to fly back to Omaha that night. And so he said, you have to come from the dressing room as soon as the show is over because we have to get back. I said, well, Warren, can't you afford to stay all night in a hotel? I know him pretty well. And he's a dear, dear man, and he loves music. he plays ukulele,
Mm-hmm.
and I've always thought that it would be fun if we did a song together. So he came that night to Carnegie, and then later on in the summertime, I work a resort called Lake Okoboji in northern Iowa, and he came to my show there. He surprised me, and people were coming backstage saying, "We think Warren Buffett's there," and I said, "No, I don't think so," and they said, "Yeah." So when I walked on stage, lo and behold, Warren was right in the front row, in the theater that I work up in Iowa.
Yeah.
It's a theater I work that was 60. I've been there 64 years now.
Wow. And
working a lovely theater in Okoboji.
what are some of your other favorite venues? I know you played all of the big ones. What are some of your favorites?
Well, that's one. That's one. It's a lovely theater, and these days, I loved Feinstein's on Park Avenue. There was a wonderful room there that Michael opened, and
the Regency,
it was,
right? The Regency.
It was wonderful. I did it 3 or 4 times. Well, I did it 4 times, and it's closed now, but. I love Feinstein's in San Francisco. It's in a hotel there, and it's a beautiful room.
The one at the Nico?
At the Nico, yes, at the Nico Hotel.
Yeah, and I happen to know that you have a lot of fans in Provincetown, and P-Town it's called. Do you not?
Oh, yes. I've worked P-Town for the last 12 years consecutively. Well, actually, the last 13 years.
Yeah.
This last summer was my 13th consecutive year there.
You told me that the gays love you, and then you walk down Commercial Street, they all stop you, right?
You know what? They don't stop me.
Oh.
It's interesting.
Okay.
What they do is they walk by. I walk one way, and there are wonderful gentlemen who come the other way, and they say, "We love you, Marilyn," and I say, "Thank you, I love you too," and I keep walking, and they keep walking. It's a wonderful audience, very hip audience that we have in Provincetown.
Yeah, why do you think that you're so relatable to them, Marilyn? Why do you think?
I just am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very Midwest. My home is Kansas City.
Yeah.
And so I'm a Midwestern girl, and I like people. I really like them.
Yeah. Well, they like you too. I told you the story about a high school friend of mine saw a Facebook post I did on you, and he commented that he worked in a bank in 3 different cities, and they all claim you. And I couldn't remember all 3, but now I do. One of them was Wichita, where you were born, Des Moines, where you kind of grew up, and then Kansas City, where you lived when you were discovered. Is that correct? Those 3 cities, they all claim you.
That's right. All of those cities. How Midwestern can you get?
You can't get much more Midwestern than that.
That's why I love coming to Carmel, Indiana.
Yeah.
You're pretty Midwestern.
Oh, no, we're right in the middle of it all. Tell me about your background, about your Midwestern background. Tell me a bit about how you grew up.
Well, I went to high school in Des Moines, and I know my school song and Dear East High, and I love Dear East High. But I married a man who was a dancer, and in Kansas City. He lived in Kansas City. Hence I moved to Kansas City.
Okay.
And I had a daughter there. We owned a dance studio there for 9 years. I taught the singing and he taught the dancing, and then we got a divorce. Alcoholism is not a happy thing in a marriage, and but that's hence my residence in Kansas City, and still is. I still have a home in Kansas City, but mostly I stay in New York and fly out of there.
Is that where you're
St. Louis.
Is that where you're calling from, by the way? Are you in New York right now?
I'm in New York now.
Yeah. Are you in your home?
We open day after tomorrow in St. Louis for the cabaret conference.
Are you in your home at this moment?
Yes, I'm in my apartment.
What's your home like?
It's full of music piled up everywhere, and all kinds of song books and my arrangements are all over one whole room.
Marilyn,
it's a home of productivity.
Do you keep memorabilia around? I mean, pictures of you with all the people you've met over the years, stuff like that.
Well, I wish I had all of that organized. I love that idea, and I'll get to that, Tom, one of these days.
Do you have it in your Kansas City home? Have a room?
I do.
Yeah. Do you keep your award?
Not necessarily.
Do you keep?
No, I really don't have one room dedicated to it.
Okay.
I've received, because of my age and because of my career, I've received an awful lot of trophies.
I want to talk about Mr. Ted Firth, who is your music director.
Yes.
You know that he and Michael Feinstein performed together, but you have a story about that. So tell me about Ted Firth.
I found Ted Firth almost 18 years ago now, here in New York, and he was playing at Birdland for that cast party show, and I was told to go hear him because somebody that knew me and knew my work said, he's a great pianist, and you probably want to work with him. So I went there to hear him, and I said, well, I'm going to sing. He had a moment when he walked away from the stage, and I said, I'm going to sing "Luck Be a Lady" tonight, and a Frank Lesser song. And I said, of course you know that. And he said, oh sure. And I said, and I do the verse. And at the time, he didn't say he didn't know the verse, so I started singing. And he did know the verse beautifully, but I was told that between our visit about what I was going to sing and when I got on stage, he had found his computer and he had pulled up the verse on his computer and read he was very enterprising, is that he could find it on his computer and play it that way, because he said he really didn't know it. And so I did a chorus and then another chorus. And after the second bridge out of the song, he all of a sudden he modulated to a higher key, and I went right with him. And after the whole thing was over, we laughed about it. Many years later, we laughed about it, and I said, I was auditioning you, but then of course you auditioned me, didn't you, to see if I could hear that key change. And so now, 18 years later, I work with him pretty much exclusively, although I have other wonderful pianists that accompany me too. But Ted is a giant in our musical business. He's a brilliant young man, and is a beautiful man to work with and to share an act with, because he couldn't be more professional and more. He's so talented. He's so brilliantly talented. And
is he sort of the music director? He knows what you want before you even ask him for it.
Well, no, we talk about it. I figure out what I want to add to an arrangement or a medley. I put those things together myself, and then I go and say, well, I think we could do, and then together we work out endings and intros and that kind of thing. But he's brilliant. The fun thing about it is that I don't know, after we'd been together 3 or 4 years, Michael Feinstein said he wanted to work with me. And while Michael and I got together, and I said, who do you use? Who is your pianist? And Michael told me, and he said, who's yours? And I said, Ted Firth. I said, do you know him? He said, oh, I don't know him. and I said, well, you will. And I said, so he said, well, let's use him then for our pianist in our performance together. And we did. And hence I can barely get Ted now because Michael Feinstein is working most of the time with Ted. And Michael has booked a lot around the United States and in Europe. And so it's interesting because he didn't even know him when we worked together, but now he's his first call accompanist.
Well, and, he also performs with other noted artists, does he not? Ted does.
Brian Stokes Mitchell and Melissa Errico, and the list goes on and on.
He's recorded.
He's pretty much on the road.
I just interviewed Anthony Nunziata, and they are recording right now some of Anthony's Italian arias. I don't know if you knew that, but he's working with Ted on that.
Great.
And I told him, and Michael Feinstein and Ted Firth are going to be on one of my podcasts coming up, so it'll be fun. So if your ears are burning, we'll be talking about you, okay?
Wonderful. Well, he's a brilliant young man.
He emanates kindness, He emanates it.
Oh, well.
He's just
he does.
He's got a very... he's got sort of a spirituality to him in those fingers too,
Yes.
Talk about connecting.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
And he's humble. He's very humble and just almost always does the right thing in every way.
Mm-hmm. Well,
not almost. I take that almost away.
Okay.
He always does the right thing in every way.
Let's talk more about you. An article that Melissa Errico, who you mentioned, she did that piece on you prior to your Carnegie Hall appearance.
Oh, she's a brilliant writer.
Unsinkable.
She's a wonderful singer.
The unsinkable Marilyn Maye. I met her a few weeks ago when she was at Feinstein's, and I went back and read that article before I called you, and something really stuck out at me. In the article, she writes beautifully. She called you omnipresent and said your secret may be your equanimity, and that means, for people who don't know what that word means, mental calmness, composure, and evenness of temper, especially in a difficult situation. Is that you?
Oh, I think so. She kind of hung out with me a lot. She came to my teaching sessions, my coaching sessions of various adults that I do, and she came to my performance at 54 Below, and we kind of spent time together. So she's a brilliant writer. She's a wonderful singer, but her writing is astounding, isn't it?
Oh yeah, she's multi-talented for sure. And I hear the New York Times that she's a regular contributor for her. So
She is.
They didn't choose just anybody to write about you. So you were happy with what she wrote?
Oh, I was thrilled, and they gave us lots of space. They gave her lots of space.
No kidding. Pictures too.
It was a long article, and
those pictures of you and spotlighted on the stage at Carnegie Hall were just so dramatic. I mean, really.
Well, we had it was quite a project, the Carnegie, and I really was so honored to. And the fun thing was that it was a packed house. We had a sold out house. They put the banner across the poster outside that it was sold out.
So did you have a lot of people come? Tell me about. I want to hear about the backstage afterwards. Did you have a swarm of people?
Well, backstage, I had people come, people that I didn't know were coming from all over the country. You know, there were people that came from Dallas, Texas, and Des Moines, Iowa, and just, all kinds of cities around the country that I was so shocked and honored and thrilled that they were there.
Was it kind of like that old TV show, This Is Your Life? Was it kind of like that?
I guess it was. This Is Your Life. A lot of it. The people that came had been listeners and people in my audience for years and years and years. And then all of a sudden, there they were. So very old friendships. And
did you get a lot of flowers?
Oh gosh, yes. Oh yes. Oh, it was lovely.
And did you go to after parties? How late did you stay up?
Well, yeah, we did. And then they had a lovely party for the out of towners Shane was part of I had 3 people who rented a room across the street from Carnegie in a beautiful restaurant. They rented a private room, and they had a party for me there.
I'm going
after.
Shane told on you. He told me a story about how you guys were somewhere in some city. You went to a show, and you had been out partying, and it was like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., and he had to go home. He was exhausted, but you wanted to stay out and have another drink. Is that true?
Well, not necessarily another drink, Tom, but
that's right. You only do one a night. Yeah.
I really do, and that's true because I had 3 alcoholic husbands, so I know I know the bad stories about alcoholism.
We've talked about that.
But I love interaction with people. I love people. I think my audience knows that. I think my audience
absolutely
gets that I love them, and I'm honored that they're there. It's not that they. I'm honored that they are there, and I appreciate their presence and the fact that they bought a ticket to hear what I have to say and sing.
Melissa, another thing that jumped out at me that she wrote, she was speaking about, your life, which includes travel, devoted audiences, parties, mentoring, master classes, and concerts in all size venues. People make a lot about people are always talking about, in a positive way, but what do you make of all this talk about your age? That always comes up. What do you make of all that? What do you think about it?
It's a fact. They do know how old I am. I don't particularly advertise it. I don't even want to. But when I reached 90, I thought, okay, my lawyer came up with a title for my show at 54 Below. I was doing 10 nights there over my birthday time, and I was going to be 90 years old. So he said, I've got an idea for the title, 90 at Last. And I said, okay, we'll use that. So we did. So then...
Did you sing At Last, too? Did you sing At Last?
Oh, sure.
Okay,
sure. Oh, sure. And wrote a parody for it, even. But I like to write extra lyrics for endings and intros and various things, so I do that.
It's for sure you have a devilish sense of humor. That's one of the things that I love most about you. You have a very wicked sense of humor.
No, it's not wicked.
But it's subtle.
But
it's understated.
But I like fun.
Yeah.
I think
life
is short.
People refer to you in writings that you're playful. You have this playfulness.
Well, life is short. If you don't have fun, there's something wrong with you. So there's always something.
You do that song from Mame, and the kick number. When you do the kicks, the audience just loves that when you kick
high. It's today.
Yeah,
it's today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you?
Yeah, and every day, Tom, is very, very valuable.
Of course.
And so you gotta have fun, and I'm productive. I'm very productive. I'm leaving tomorrow. Like I say, I haven't packed yet, but I'm going to pack my bags.
So
and my music
along those lines, how do you, for most people, it's such a struggle to travel. I mean, it's hard, with all those TSA lines and the waiting and the delayed flight. How do you do it? I mean, you're always off and on planes, aren't you?
Not easy. You just keep moving. You keep moving.
Yeah. It just comes
you just
with
do that. That's just part of the game.
Yeah.
And you don't make a negative out of it. You just got to keep going and think positively. And I'm busy working on what I have to do the next day and the next day, and it's an interesting business. I love what it, and it is a business. It is a show business.
Well,
it isn't just show business. It's a business of show.
Well, and you're also still making a living out of it, and you do so many things besides the concerts that people don't know about. Like you have a killer schedule with master classes, do you not? Teaching?
Yeah, well, we do a lot of coaching. I have a 71-year-old lawyer who is a doll, and he loves to sing, and we put an act together for him. He's going to be doing his act next month. I have a woman from California, and she has an apartment here in New York, and she will be appearing in a couple of weeks. She has 4 nights in a club, an act that we put together. It's her second act, actually.
Wow.
And she's thrilled. She plays saxophone and she sings, and she's beautiful and fun, and she's a really good performer. So then I have John is a great performer. He's my lawyer, and I have a 28-year-old girl who lives in she lives here in New York now, but for her life after 11 years old, she lived in Mexico. She is an American who was adopted in Latvia. And she's a very interesting person because of all that background, and very, very brilliant. And we went to college, and she came to me, and we put an act together, and it was so successful. She's just such a great singer. All kinds of people. And I just had somebody come from California. She's a singer, a professional singer, and she and her conductor pianist came to me for 9 hours of lessons. Not lessons, I call them coaching. And she just wanted me to put together some things that I feel are necessary in this business of show.
Yeah. So, I had the great privilege, I look back on it, a couple of years ago when you were in Carmel. Another shout out to good friends of ours, our mutual friends, Marilyn Goki and Don Katz at their beautiful home.
Yes.
And you did a master class, and I got
in
to
their
hang
lovely
out
home.
there.
They opened up their home and their piano.
It was extraordinary, wasn't it?
Oh, it was wonderful. We had terrific people, mostly actors.
Yep.
And the actors who sing. And we do 5 hours of music, and their music, so everybody has a chance to show me what they can do individually, and it's really a joy, the master classes. I love doing those.
One thing that I always remember to this day, and as a reviewer, obviously, it changed my whole perspective. And that is when you recommend to your students, do not use a stool. These people came to see you perform, so stand.
I don't like when people sit down. I don't know why. They sit down.
Why?
Are they tired? Are they tired? And I'll say, why do you want to sit? I'll talk to somebody.
And you also
told I'm going to sit down.
Don't ever turn your back to the audience, you told them.
Well, it turned when you're featuring the musicians. Yeah. If the musician is doing a solo, then I'll turn my back and point out and look at the musician.
So
because
Marilyn,
he's the one that's performing.
What do you do about? I know that you're able to do it because you set people at ease when they meet you. That's your Midwestern thing. But how do you get people to calm down your students when they're so intimidated by you singing in front of you?
Oh, they're not intimidated by me. They know I love them.
Okay. Well, I mean, when they first meet you, though, does it take long for them to
I don't think they're intimidated. I'm a friend. We become friends.
Yeah. So what are the main things you want your students to take away when they come to your master classes?
Well, I always say to people, some people play bridge, some people play golf, some people want to sing. That's whether they want to go in the business or not is one thing. But if they just want to sing and do an act, there's a wonderful place here. It has a small room. It's called Don't Tell Mama. It's a wonderful club here in New York, and it has a small room. So if you can gather a few people in an audience, whether it be 20 or 50. You can work this small room and where they're comfortable working and have an audience.
Yeah, a lot of people started their careers there, right? I mean, a lot of people.
That's right.
That's where they launched.
That's right. Yeah. And Don't Tell Mama. That's the truth.
So, Marilyn, go ahead.
So the people that come to me, many of them, it's kind of their hobby, and yet they have aspirations. Some of them really want to go on and have a career, but it's a wonderful thing to get to perform good music and make the people in the audience happy.
How does it
and
make
enjoy
you...
it. And these days, Tom, that's the most important thing, because these days you turn on the television and it's all bad news.
That's a reoccurring theme with you. I've heard you say that often on stage, even, that with all that's going on in the room, when you come in here, I want to transport you to another place where you don't have to worry about any of that stuff.
Well, it's all good news with me.
Yeah.
All good news and happiness.
What?
It's a couple of hours that you can spend and enjoy and feel comfortable and in the club and know that you're being entertained and you enjoy and the people enjoy the entertainment. It's got to be fun. And why I don't sit down is that I think it takes the energy out of the show. It doesn't make it any more intimate. Yes. And the people are already sitting, so they're comfortable. So I don't know why people sit down.
There's a lot of the research I've done about your career. Many writers often refer to your technique, if you will, how you tell a good story by way of the song and your banter and so on and forth. But there have been others who remark about the emotional quality that you exude, that people can tell that you bring your life experiences into the lyrics. Do you believe that's true?
That's true.
That you've lived this life.
And I think
you've experienced.
I think everybody, if they will really get into the lyric, if they will really get into the story and the lyric, it's all about the lyric in a song. And if it's a good song with a wonderful story, either positive or negative. There's lots of torch songs that are negative and Broadway show songs that are negative. But if they get into the story and deliver it with the fact that you are very well acquainted and you know what you're singing about.
Well, there's something to be
then
there's something to be said about being 95, is there not? You have experienced a lifetime of everything: loss,
That's
joy.
Right.
Pathos, you name it. So you draw.
That's right.
You draw all that when you connecting with your audience. They find something relatable.
From my life experiences.
Yeah.
And I always say, I don't sing for the people. I sing to them, directly to them, to their eyes and to their ears.
So, Marilyn, what do you think is the state of cabaret? There are people saying for a long time that it was dead, and there are people saying it's hard for cabaret to survive because of money. People serve food, and it becomes more about the restaurant and less about the entertainment. What do you think about all that? I mean, is cabaret alive and well?
I think I don't know. My shows are packed here in New York. I'm sold out for my opening night my opening night and the next 3 nights I'm sold out for an April engagement. So the people that know what they're doing and they want to bring happiness into their lives, they will come.
What are your
and they do come.
Do you have any advice for young people who might want to go into, well, these days, as you know, a lot of young theater students are trained to be triple threats. You got to be able to sing, dance, act. You got to be prepared to do movies, television, cabaret, everything. So what do you say to young people about getting into show business in general?
I think they do have to expose themselves to all those lessons. The lessons that I think they need to take. That if they only want to be a singer, they still need to take dancing lessons. Whether they're not to be a dancer necessarily. If they want to be on Broadway, then they have to be a triple threat. They have to be able to sing and dance and act. But if they want to do cabaret, the same thing. I think the same thing with cabaret or whatever in this business. I think you have to be exposed to those 3 talents, because even Broadway, the songs that I do are story songs, and that takes an acting ability. and I love doing hip, wonderful jazz music, and that takes movement. I think you not to be a dancer particularly, but just to move, just to know how to move gracefully and easily with the beat of a song, if it's a happy song. The acting and the singing, of course, is obvious.
Marilyn, I guess I don't know for certain, but did you actually have any training or a degree in theater or anything like that?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Not a degree. My degree is hard knocks.
Yeah.
Hard knocks degree. Mm-hmm. But I've studied with a wonderful woman that knew what she was doing, and she knew that I had a talent for the Great American Songbook, the popular songs rather than opera. She was really a classical teacher, but she saw where my talent was, and I studied with her from the time I was 8 years old until I was 12. Only 4 years, but I know that training was valuable to me.
Mm-hmm. Do you think entertaining itself, do you consider it an act of love?
Absolutely.
I only ask you that
love.
because I heard that when you do it for love, in that chorus line song, "What I Did for Love." You
right.
find that to be true?
I think so. I really do. I love what I do. I do make a living at it, but thank God I'm able to do something that I really love. Mm-hmm. That's in my body, that's in my bones. and I love the fact that I can deliver and make some people happy every night that I work.
What is your work philosophy? What would you say it is?
In what way?
Work philosophy.
Because it is work. I mean, it is work,
Yes, that's what I mean, though. What do you have to say, like, to young people about work? Things like discipline and focus and those kind of things. You
do have to dedicate yourself to rehearsing and working, and you can't baby yourself. It's hard. It's not an easy business. But if you love it, I think that's the point. The love is what comes into this business as much or more than any business. You have to really love it in order to devote the time and the energy to and the talent that it takes.
And if you weren't doing what you're doing now, what do you think you would have been doing? If you would have been still in Des Moines.
I would be a decorator.
Really?
I would be an interior designer.
Oh.
I would like doing that.
Well,
and
you
I
do
like
pretty
doing
well.
that.
You do pretty well in fashion too, from what I've seen on stage.
Thank you. Well, that's Bob Mackey. That's my friend Bob
That's
Mackey.
why the gays love you. I should know. I'm one of them. So you have really good taste.
I don't wear Cher material. I don't have the body for that. but I do have good wardrobe that he designs for me, and I'm very privileged and honored that he does.
And he still does designs for you? Are you?
Oh yeah. My second act at Carnegie Hall was something that he designed especially for me. I even flew out for a fitting the week before the Carnegie Hall show.
Oh, now I'm getting what you said about you can't wear just any material like Cher did in that controversial outfit she wore. The see-through.
Well, he says she's wonderful to design for because her body's straight up and down, and she's got the body, and it's what he designs for her is phenomenal, of course.
Well, do you have any regrets? Any regrets at all?
Not that I can think of today. None whatsoever.
So how closely does your philosophy in general mirror
Because I think when you live through bad parts of your life, that also teaches you a lot about singing.
You play... I would have loved to have seen you play Mame because I thought you were born to play that character. But how much?
I love doing Mame.
How much did you relate to her?
I did Dolly. I did. I did Hello, Dolly.
How did you relate to that character Mame, though?
Well, I love her. You know, she believes that life is a banquet, and most poor sons of bitches are starving to death. That's her line.
I was hoping you would say that. Well,
I believe life is a banquet.
Yeah. So, how do you feel about living life or staying in the moment? What do you think about that? Living life in the moment. Do you do that?
It's the only thing you can do. It's the only way to live, and I do live in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're not cognizant of what's going on around you, most of the time you're missing a lot. You're going to miss a lot. If it's all about you and not about other people, you're missing a lot, because there's so many interesting, wonderful, active people that in my life that bring joy and love to me. So it's a wonderful thing to be aware of that. And
well, you know, with that, I'm going to say goodbye, and I'm a great fan, and thank you for the opportunity to get to know
you. Thank you, my
better.
My love to you, and thank you for this time with you. And I'll see you at Feinstein's in Carmel, Indiana.
Absolutely, we're going to get more butts in the seats, aren't we?
Well, I hope so.
Okay.
In the meantime, I'll see you in April, anytime between the 9th and for 10 days at 54 Below. You come on
now
into New
there's
York.
my
It's
reason.
fun.
I've been wanting to show up there sooner than later. So, okay, well, I'll see you down the road.
My cheers to you, Tom. Thank you so much.
Bye, Marilyn.
Bless your heart.
Bye-bye.
Bye, sweetheart.
Who will take center stage on the podcast next? Your seat on the aisle with Tom Alvarez awaits. Follow Tom on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and make sure to visit tomalvarez.studio. Watch Tom every other Thursday on Lifestyle Live on Wish TV, and make sure to listen every week here on the All Indiana Podcast Network.